Test. Good morning, Professor, and everyone here. Anyway, thank you so much for the insightful presentation. My name is Citra, and I'm an undergraduate student in Marine Science, Pajajaran University. I have a question. So you mentioned that change in precipitation are linked to reduced surface friction over the ocean and change in latent heating over island, which modify the zonal circulation and change precipitation to the east. So, could you please explain how this dynamic effect interact with thermodynamic process, particularly latent heating and oceanic surface heat flux, in driving the eastward enchangement of precipitation during the westerly pass of the MGO? Thank you.
That's difficult.
So the question is, if you do not have islands, in this case, let's say Kalimantan was not there, how it is increasing precipitation over New Guinea, correct? So that's basically the question, to the east of the island. And question was also related to friction over ocean. So in this particular example, when I said friction was less, I was not actually talking about ocean. I was just talking about the land. Because if the land is gone, then the friction is of course less, because I'm using friction over water essentially, okay? So that's one part. So it was not related to the ocean part. Ocean was exactly same in two simulations. So there was no difference in the ocean. So it is just the land, there was land before and now there is no land. So that's basically the reduction of friction over land. The second part is how the latent heat release changes the wind distribution. And that comes from very simple solution of what we call as Navier-Stokes equation. So basically, if you take your momentum equation and if you solve for it, what you'll notice is that if you have energy input in the middle, let's say here, then the westerlies will be to the west and easterlies will be to the east. So this is coming from directly from theory. So it's not an easy, there is no easy physical way to explain it. So it's just a differential equation, and this is the solution. Solution is westerlies to the west and easterlies to the east. Okay. And if you have more question, we can talk. Okay. And I can explain it much better in drawing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much. This very really good question. Is there any before we close? Oh, one more student, sorry. Yeah, sorry, this is the last.
That's no worries, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you for your very insightful presentation. My name is Zahrani, and I would like to ask you a question. If the seasons in Indonesia occur at the same time every year, such as December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, and September, October, November, while the MGO phase appears at irregular times, and rainfall in Indonesia is also influenced by topographical condition, then how do these three factors interact in influencing the intensity of rainfall in Indonesia? Thank you, sir.
Yes, so that's a very complex question, like how MGO, monsoon, ENSO, and everything else impact. So for the purpose of understanding, one standard way science evolves is, if you want to understand the impact of those, one way would be to consider a time when only one of the event is there, correct? So if you want to understand the influence of MGO, ENSO, and monsoon, so let's start with a time when there is only MGO. There is no monsoon and there is no ENSO. So you have some idea about how MGO will impact. Same thing for the ENSO. You choose a time when there is no MGO and then there is no monsoon, and then understand the impact of ENSO. So that has been the standard way of doing it. And these things we can easily do it in numerical models, for example. So when all three of them are there, we can change the sea surface temperature condition to basically to look something like which is not an ENSO. So that will give an influence from monsoon and MJO. But those are mostly from the numerical perspective. But yeah, overall, it's a very, very complex question, basically, how all three interact each other.
So Pallav, more focusly actually they're asking you, why is the amplitude and the timing is different by the coming MGO with a diurnal fix?
What's the question?
What is the difference? Why they change the amplitudes and the timing of the diurnal fix when they come to the MGO? Yeah.
When there is an MJO?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think so it's not a one-way thing. It's not like MJO is influencing diurnal cycle or diurnal cycle is influencing MJO. It's actually both ways. So it's a lot more complex issue here. But generally what happens is when there is weak MJO means that it is no longer really disturbing the land-sea contrast. So the diurnal cycle is strong. So whenever there is a weak MJO, diurnal cycle of precipitation is strong. Whenever there is a strong MJO, then it actually disrupts the land-sea contrast. So generally the diurnal cycle of precipitation is weaker over the maritime continent in general. Yeah.
So thank you. I feel glad with my students because we teach them, and very good question actually. Thank you, student. So I think before close, maybe I will give for the dean. Maybe I have a last question, or please, Dean. No, okay, okay. We just give applause again to Professor Pallav.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pallav.
Yeah, thank you all for being here, okay? And if you have any question, just, send me an email or ask Fadli and Fadli can pass it to me. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you, Professor Pallav, for the amazing presentation, and thank you, Dr. Fadli, for conducting our event today. So now agenda is to proceed with the certificate of appreciation to our amazing speaker. We kindly invite Professor Ray to stand up and who is giving the presentation? Oh, okay. And we like to invite the Dean of the Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Sciences, Dr. Sunarto, to give the certificate for our speaker today. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, next for the certificate. Okay, next we're not. Okay. Thank you, Professor Pallav Kumar, for today. And next, we're not forgetting our moderator to appreciate our moderator today. There's also a certificate for. There is also a certificate for our moderator. All right. Now last is the photo session agenda, which all the participants, we kindly invite all participants to stand up to show in front of the. Here. Maybe
So
we can start from the ladies and then gentlemen in the back front.